5 things you must know before you punish your child. Here are 5 things that you must know before you punish your child. Hi, my name is Shema Folayan. I am your Bliss Catalyst. Follow me for unpopular tips that can transform your family and relationship right now. Also, check out my website blisscatalyst.org for books and courses that can deliver the bliss that you've always dreamt of. Now, I released a video earlier where I talked about the difference between being firm and being harsh in correcting our children. And as parents, we know being firm and being harsh, they may sound similar, but the difference in terms of the result that it produces and is just night and day. And therefore, you need to check out that video to understand the difference between what it means to be firm and what it means to be harsh, and what is it that you need to do in order to avoid being harsh when you're correcting your child. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things you must know about your child, about children generally, before you punish or correct your child. Now, when we talk about firmness and harshness, it boils down to one word, and that word is empathy. Empathy. Because when you fail to empathize with that child in that situation, you will be left with only your own emotion. All you are thinking of is your own reputation, your fear of being a bad parent, and all of that would push you to become harsh rather than being firm. Now, when you are able to empathize, which means you put yourself in their shoes, then it helps you to parent yourself, because the most important job for a parent is to actually to parent themselves. What does that mean? To control yourself and to deal based on wisdom, not just based on emotions. So, but all of that will be possible without empathy. So these are the 5 things that will unlock your empathy for your child, that will enable you to correct them in a manner that is firm and not harsh. The first one is this, very interesting: brain development. Do you know that every child goes through brain development, and that the brain of children is actually underdeveloped? As a matter of fact, science has it that the brain is only fully developed at the age of 25. So everyone, you know what we say when we're correcting the children, say, in Yoruba they'll say abi ori e o pe, which means, is it that your head is not correct? You know, that is very, very abusive. But guess what? The answer is actually yes. Because science shows that the brain is not fully developed until the age of 25. So when you put expectations on that child that is 12 years old, that is 10 years old, that is 15, 17, even 19, and you are berating them for not doing stuff the way you that you are 40, you that you are 30, you that you are 50, for not doing something the way you would do it, you are asking them to do something that is actually outside of their control, something that is actually beyond their capacity. It's like someone asking you to loan them $1 billion. If someone abuses you for not having $1 billion, how will you feel? Because they are simply asking for something you don't have. So, when you are berating your child for doing something in a manner that is below the level of their brain, is the same thing you are doing to them. It's like somebody abusing you for not giving them $1 billion. They simply don't have it. Because, and let me highlight something, and I'm going to tell you where the brains are around the different age brackets. So I'm going to do this very quick. Between age 13 and 19, the brain undergoes major rewiring. 13 and 19, those are the teenage years, especially in areas that controls emotions and decision making. You know, that your teenager who doesn't like to come out, who doesn't like to speak, who doesn't like to socialize, who sometimes seems more emotionally distant from you, or sometimes if even, you know, they are protesting and they seem loud, they seem rude at times. The science actually has it that part of what is going on is that their brain is going through growth in the areas of emotions and decision making. And of course, they make stupid decisions a lot as well. And you begin to get into panic mode and all of that. Calm down. Their brain is simply developing and is not there yet. Also, age 20 and 25, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for judgment, impulse control, and planning, that is actually the last part to mature. So anyone who is under 25, their brain cannot have full requirement for judgment, impulse control, and planning just yet. So you see, many a times we've asked our children to actually give us things that they simply don't have. And it's like I said, someone berating you for not loaning them $1 billion. You simply don't have it. That's one. Then the second thing you must know about every child is that children come with personality differences. Just like all of us adults, we also have our personality differences. Maybe you are the kind of adult, you don't like stepping out. You don't like going out. So, your friends will call you out. Sometimes they will abuse you. Oh, you somebody will call you. You will not even come out. Let's go for Owambe. You are just that kind of person. I don't like leaving my house. I don't like stepping out. And it's just a personality difference. So when you come back from work, for instance, one of my daughters, for instance, when someone comes back from work, the other daughter will come out and hug and say, oh, mommy, daddy, welcome. The other one, she may not behave as if she's even seeing you. If you do not understand personality difference, what would you do? You will blame her, you will chastise her, you will berate her, you will punish her. But we all have it, even as adults, and it's the same thing with children. Sometimes it's time for prayer, someone is loud and boisterous about it, the other person can only mutter one or two words. Personality difference. So it's always important to remember that your child is not trying to be a bad child. They just have personality difference, and therefore it means that some things will come natural to them, other things they will struggle. And if you as adults will be truthful about yourself as well, even in your 40s and 50s, you are exactly the same. There are things that just don't come natural to you. So we need to cut them some slack, because personality difference is a reality for children. Sometimes environment is also a reality of what impacts the way they behave. Sometimes a child is put in an environment that is very warm and friendly, and that connects with their personality, and therefore they become themselves. They are fully themselves. They are they are in their best behavior and all of that. Other times a child can be put in an environment that is not in line with their personality, and they struggle. For instance, you go out for party or for birthdays, and you have a child who loves people and jumps up and is excited and makes friends and laughs and plays around. You have another child, you get to a party with other children and they just look for one little corner and they are quiet. But you as a parent, you're comfortable. Oh, for you it means that child is not socializing. Why are you quiet? Why are you not playing? Why are you moody? The child might even be crying, depending on the age. Might be cranky and crying. Maybe something little happened and the child reacts and cries, or maybe and all that, but you take it personal and you judge it as bad behavior. And what is simply happening is that the environment, they are reacting to the environment. Sometimes it's even the physical situation in the environment. Sometimes you put a child in a place that is not well ventilated, and the child feels stuffy, but sometimes they may not have the language to speak to what is actually going on. That physical harshness in the environment may impact their behavior, and sometimes we are totally oblivious of it. Another thing, the fourth one, is that children can be stressed and they can be tired. And all of us, even as adults, that even you as an adult, you don't behave well when you are stressed and tired. It is the same thing with children. Sometimes they've gone to school and they've gone through all kinds of things, maybe hold up in the school bus, all kinds of things that they've experienced. Maybe a very stressful day at work. Maybe they didn't get something right in school and the teacher was all over them. Maybe a day that one of their friends turned on them and they had some fight and maybe some disagreement with their friends, and they've dealt with all of those stress. And they come to you later in the evening, they are not being the best version of themselves, but you can see past, you can think through possibly the stress that they've gone through. All you see is bad behavior and you hammer on it. Children are human beings, and just like you, they also can get stressed, and sometimes they are tired. And when that happens, we need to recognize it for what it is and not punish them for it. Lastly, is that children go through different growth patterns. The growth pattern in children is totally different. Some children will grow up with a lot of ability to speak, very vocal and all of that, and the dexterity in language, they will have all of that, while their mates are still struggling. Some other children will grow up, physically speaking, they are agile and strong and all of that. Others are a bit weakly and, not that strong, not that athletic compared to their mates. It does. The one who is weak as a child today might become the athlete tomorrow. In fact, there's a story of one of my siblings. I'm not going to mention the person's name. One of my sisters, much older than me. So I got the story that when she was young, I couldn't believe it. That when they were young as children, this person is, older than me by, I think, more than 10 years or so. Yeah. That when they were young, they had a nickname for her. I'm not going to mention the nickname so that I don't get thrown out of the family WhatsApp group. But the nickname connotes someone that is always emotional and always crying. Because that was what they said she was when they were growing up. Of course, I wasn't born, but the older ones, our firstborn and all that, my auntie, they give us the story that she was always crying, always emotional, always sensitive. For the life of me, I could not marry my sister with the image of a child that was emotional and crying when she was young. Because today, she's a rock. she's someone who, today she leads, she does all kinds of things. If there's anyone who can be termed unemotional, she's probably the one that can even be termed unemotional. She can take on anybody and anything and gets her way through. That's who she has become today. Total disparity from the child that was emotional and always crying. That's part of what we need to realize. Sometimes a child will struggle in certain phases of their development, and it does not mean anything will happen to them. They will still grow up as a functioning adult without any issue. But sometimes we go into panic mode and we begin to address and hammer them and punish them because they lack certain things that we feel they should have as a child. As long as you are dealing with a child, there are a whole lot of their potentials that may not be out yet, and you cannot berate them for that. You cannot punish them for that, because children go through different growth patterns, and a lot of time is our fear that is pushing us to the place of judgment, pushing us to the place of criticism, pushing us to the place of berating them and looking for what to fix when there is actually nothing wrong. We just simply need to continue to be a stable, controlled, calm and confident parent for them. I hope this has helped to unlock your empathy so that when you need to correct your child, you do it out of love. You do it as a controlled parent, not an emotional parent, and you do it being firm and not being harsh. And as you do this, I wish you bliss.